Please read the disclaimer. XRP whale activity spiking on exchanges, BlackRock dropping a new ETF, and it is history. We are seeing the craziest time in the oil market ever. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. Let's get straight into it. So currently XRP is sitting at $1.37, down minus 0.64% on the day, but the market has been super duper choppy today. You can see up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. If we look at the S&P 500, you can see similar action, lots of choppiness, a few minutes up, a few minutes down, a few minutes up. Everybody's looking and anticipating for tomorrow with GDP coming out, PCE coming out. So the markets are anticipating and looking to see what is going to happen there. How is that going to play out? Is going to be very interesting. The Iran war has officially caused the largest disruption in oil supplies in history, per the Financial Times. Current oil market situation, Gulf producers have cut oil production to at least 10 million barrels a day. Iran war has driven production to its lowest level in 4 years. Per the IEA, and the IEA expects the world output to fall to 8 million BD in March. As a result, this represented a decline of 7% from the 107 million BD produced in February. Iran is now requiring reparations for a ceasefire deal, and we see oil price going up today back to $96 per barrel after we were already in the 70s, back to the 70s, not at 100 yet. But we are seeing a recovery here when you have the Revolutionary Guard saying that the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed. So when you have all these things, the market is a little bit more careful, a little bit more cautious. And so that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the markets just a little bit cautious, right? Not big movements. Like I said, it's mostly right now algo trading, a little bit up, a little bit down. And so that was the situation today. It can be very frustrating, especially if you're trying to day trade. But these days come, and especially when you have such a big Friday tomorrow with GDP and PC, and Friday is always Freaky Friday, and add all these things, all this pressure. So that's creating the kind of uncertainty, but volatility inside movement. So it's not volatile, meaning that the ATR, right, the average movement is not big, but it's very, very choppy, up and down, up and down. I'm very low. I was slouching. So if we continue and look what's happening, President Trump said that the Fed Chair Powell to cut interest rates today before the next meeting next week. Of course, after there was an okay job report where the jobs were a little bit lower than expected. So the jobless was a little bit lower than expected. Didn't have a huge trade deficit, was supposed to be minus, and it came out in plus. So that it maybe is a good thing. So there was an interesting day so far for the markets. Nothing too crazy again to the upside or to the downside. So we'll see how this plays out in the next coming days. BlackRock just launched a staked Ethereum ETF. BlackRock iShares Staked Ethereum Trust begins trading on the NASDAQ this Thursday. The ETF will hold spot Ethereum and stake part of its holdings to generate yield while charging a fee of 0.25% fee, 0.2% on the first 2.5 billion. So this is an interesting situation here, kind of like similar to investing in a stock with a dividend here, and you have the dividend reinvesting, something like that. So similar here, where you have the staking and they have the yield and they're charging a fee. So BlackRock continues to broaden its crypto offerings. No XRP ETF just yet, not happening just yet, but maybe in the future. I told you, I think that if they do create an XRP ETF, it will happen when the market's a little bit more froggier, right? When they're a little bit more in a banana zone-ish type, right? When there's a little bit more hype around crypto, not now when the market is maybe at its lowest points just from hype standpoint. And I'll show you in just a second. There's an article that came out, just shows us how things are shifting right now. Now, before that article, all I ask from you is that you remember that I messed up. I messed it up. I want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also, very, very important to remember that I will never contact you on social media asking you to sign up to anything or to send me anything. I will never DM you first. Those are scammers, those are imposters. Please be very careful out there. Don't click on any links, suspicious links. My wife just had a meeting with work today, like a Zoom, and one of the ladies there said that she clicked on a malicious link and got her accounts taken over on her wedding anniversary. So just be careful out there. Don't click on any weird links, okay? Be careful out there. So, crypto development activity plunges. Crypto code commits are down 75%, and active developers have fallen 56% since early 2025. Much of the talent is shifting to AI projects, leaving a smaller group of experienced developers driving most of blockchain development. So basically, what's happening, and it makes sense, right? There was a lot of hype into 2023, 2024, 2025, where we thought we'd hit the banana zone. There was a lot of money being thrown into the crypto market. A lot of development was being happening, right? And then prices kind of cooled off a little bit. And so money is not coming into the crypto market just because there's less hype. So there's less hype to, for example, or less urgency to release a new token right now, for example, because the market, there's not a lot of liquidity. So it's not the time. Same like when there's low, when the stock market is not doing great, it's not the best idea to IPO, right? Because there's less investors and there's less potential of people pumping the stock, and so there's less IPOs in times where the market isn't great, right? Same thing here. And furthermore, there is a lot of money that is being invested into AI. So when you add all that together, many developers, especially startup developers, are going to go to where there's money, where there's accommodations, right? Where you have the best happy hour, right? And the best benefits. And so that's what we're seeing. And again, it makes sense because the crypto market is an quote unquote a low point right now. So it will be very interesting to see if this does shift over the next coming years and months. I think that there will still be a lot of development around AI. The question is just going to be, if it does come back to the crypto market, where is it going to come from? I don't think it will come from AI, maybe from other stuff, meaning maybe AI projects or AI itself will replace part of the developers, not all of them, right? You still need developers for now. And so maybe the ones that get fired, right? Or, cut will come over to crypto if there's money there. Okay, so that will be interesting to see if that plays out. This is interesting. Largest US bank, JP Morgan, is getting sued over a 328 million crypto Ponzi scheme. A new class action lawsuit filed at a US federal court claims that JP Morgan Chase helped enable a massive crypto Ponzi scheme run by Goliath Ventures. According to the complainant, the alleged scheme raised about 328 million from roughly 2,000 investors between 2023 and 2026. The company promised investors steady monthly returns from crypto trading strategy and liquidity pools, but prosecutors say the business operated like a Ponzi structure when new investors' money was used to pay earlier investors while the rest of the funds were diverted elsewhere. Investigators say over 250 million flowed through JP Morgan's business bank account controlled by the company. Interesting. From there, large amounts of money were transferred to Coinbase wallets and crypto platforms. The lawsuit claimed JP Morgan allowed the transactions to continue despite warning signals and unusual activity linked to the accounts. Investigators argue that the bank should have flagged or stopped the transfers earlier. According to the prosecutors, a very small portion of the funds were actually used for crypto trading. The rest were allegedly spent for luxury homes, travel, events, and payment used to keep the scheme running. Alleged fraud began to collapse when investors started requesting withdrawals and payments slowed down. That's always the downfall, right? When people want their money, right? When they've had enough, that's usually when the Ponzi scheme falls apart. Authorities later froze asset and placed the company into a receivership while investigators traced where the money went. The case is now expanding beyond the people who ran the scheme. The lawsuit argues the traditional banking channels were a key part of how the money moved because most investors' deposit first passed through normal bank accounts before being sent to crypto exchanges, and this raises a bigger question. If over 250 million can move through accounts in the world's largest banks during a Ponzi scheme, what exactly are monitoring systems inside these banks designed to catch? And this is just another reminder that they'll say, oh, there's a problem with crypto and this and that, but the banks have issues too, right? And the banks get caught with Ponzi schemes, of course, Madoff and others. But there's always going to be things. I just read today that there was a someone, I forgot the company, but there was someone that was using, I think it was the CFO of the company, and he was using funds, and he invested in Anchor, right, in Terra Luna, and he lost a lot of money, and then so he went to jail for a few years now. So these things, they're taking time, but these companies eventually, these schemes, they eventually, some of them get caught, some of them don't. Again, hopefully you don't get caught in one of these. So the CFTC chairman, Mike Selig, just announced prediction markets are one of the most exciting innovations in financial markets, yet for too long, the CFTC has failed to provide guidance for these markets being used by millions of Americans. This ends today. So basically, the CFTC is moving on prediction marketing, issuing staff guidance on how exchanges should comply with existing rules governing event contracts under the Commodity Exchange Act and publishing an advance notice and proposed rulemaking seeking public comment on whether regulations are needed. And so they're continuing to change and develop and give regulation for prediction markets for crypto. And so again, all of this is good. You don't want the Wild West. You don't want people doing what they want to do. Again, if there's regulation and people know where, how, and when, then more money will go in. And prediction markets are very interesting. People are saying that they are kind of taking a lot of liquidity out of crypto. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Many of them use USDT for predictions, but what do you think? Are people just, they'd rather go to the prediction markets than invest in cryptocurrency, where cryptocurrency was more exciting, right? And prediction markets are now a little bit more exciting for people. I don't know, maybe, but you can do both. But please trade responsibly and predict responsibly. This is interesting. XRP whale activity spikes on exchanges. CryptoQuant data shows large XRP whale transactions have surged this year with several sharp spikes across major exchanges. Binance alone saw around 450 million XRP in the last 10 days. So this is interesting. If you go and you look, you say, well, the price action of XRP isn't moving that much, right? But XRP's price is not moving that much, but if we look at it, whales are investing big amounts. Again, this sometimes what happens is they add XRP through the exchanges with special privileges that they can do it off chain, right? Some people will call it black pools, however you want to call it, but on the crypto market's a little bit different. And that way they don't really affect the price when they accumulate, if they want to buy a huge amount, right? Because if you just drop, a billion XRP suddenly and you buy it in one, first of all, the exchange is probably not going to be able to facilitate in that in one transaction. It will take a little bit of time. Again, if you try and then they try and then the price starts spiking and then they won't be able to, get enough to remember if the exchanges, there are market makers, so they're supposed to facilitate that. But theoretically, what happens is if you're selling or you're buying, someone needs to sell at that price. Or the market maker facilitates that, and then later they find someone that wants to sell that price. And then they take the hit if it doesn't happen. But if they can find a better, right, they take the profit off of that. That's how the market makers make the money. But if there's a huge amount and it spikes the price and suddenly there's liquidations, and so it causes a lot of a noise and then the price might collapse off of that, they'd rather not do that. So they do it offline, right? And so the exchange will facilitate it and they'll give them a price, a good price for them to do it. This is what you get special conditions if you are a whale. This is just how it is. It's not, we don't like it, but it's better than create even more craziness in the market, okay? So it will be very interesting to see what happens in the next coming hours with the market, with Freaky Friday. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Are we going to see a very Freaky Friday? Or are we going to see a little very volatile Friday? Or are we going to see a regular Friday and not a lot of action? Recently Thursday and Friday have been kind of bananas, especially the 5th of February, right? I remember because it was my wife's birthday. And then the next day, everything popped back up. But today, not a lot of action. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Did we get 1,000 likes? Let me know in the comment section. Maybe you are like 1,000. Check, check. Maybe it's you. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.